Good evening. Happy Tuesday. It's Phil Russertt, and this is another episode. I think it's episode 6 of Creatorcon Q&A. We have a talented guest tonight. Before we get into that, of course, I am also the owner and promoter of Creatorcon, the convention that is a true comic book convention, where celebrities are the comic book creators, and we have thousands of comic books wall to wall. Currently, we're on hiatus, obviously, because of the situation going on. So if you go to the website, which is under construction at www.creatorconevent.com, you can leave your email, and that way we can do an email blast and give you all the up-to-date information on the show and announcements. Before we get into our guest tonight, as usual, I do my shout-outs to people in the industry that can use your support, so please support them. For all your comic book needs, we have Mad Titan Comics with the owner of he runs the company, Eric Gunderson. On Instagram, it's at MadTitan_comics. And on Facebook, it's Eric Gundersen, S-E-N. He has everything you need from key issues to CGC slab issues to just filling in the holes in your runs. We also have Andy Lee with Let's Do This, LesDoDis.com, LESDUDIS. It's everything pop culture and everything geek culture. He does a lot of con reviews and reviews of different toys and products, etc. Really interesting website. Please check that out. We also have Enrique Lopez. He has his new anthology book, Stupendous, out right now. If you message him on Facebook, you can inquire about buying it. We also have his Twitter and Instagram, which is Studio Main EFL. That's MAENEFL. Every Monday night at 8 p.m., he has Inking with Kike. He has a special guest, and they do a live drawing and inking, and they talk, and they chat, and, of course, you can participate. He also has his elopezgil.myportfolio.com, where you can find all of his work, and you can inquire about purchasing it. We have my local comic shop, Android's Amazing Comics, run by Anthony with their manager, James. Hi, Keith. James is a very knowledgeable individual. Not only do you have him as a manager at the store, but he runs his own Android's Amazing Podcast, which is on iTunes, Apple Pods, Google Cast, Spotify, Anchor, and more. With everything going on with DC, I'm sure his next episode is going to be real interesting, so please check that out. You can also go to androidscomics.com or on Instagram at androidscomics to see what they have for sale. Moving forward, we also have Tribulation Task Force, which is an Indiegogo campaign right now by Bill Rout. The Apostle John is alive and held prisoner at the Vatican, and the Tribulation Task Force must rescue him. It's a Christian-based action-adventure. I think the art looks excellent. It looks like a lot of fun. I really recommend you pick it up, whether you're of Christian belief or not. It looks like an action-packed adventure, so please support that on Indiegogo. We also have, from Eric Nienaltowski, another Indiegogo, which is Shadow Sentry Book 1, Into the Eternal. Hell has entered our realm through death's door, and heaven has a new breed of heroes. Please go to Indiegogo and check that out, Shadow Sentry by Eric Nienaltowski. We have It Came From the Radio with Mark Torres and crew. It is the official radio show of the Big Apple Con, and it is a syndicated show that is available on over 25 podcast places. It focuses on independent artists, filmmakers, and creators with a sci-fi fantasy slant. I've actually been on the show before. They're very interesting. They provide a lot of news, and they're really good people with an interesting, entertaining show, so please go check it out. We have HeroShack.com, which is Christopher Tomolovich. He is a creator of his own series of books, his own universe. You could find it at HeroShack. And last but not least, Shelby Robertson is an awesome artist out of Phoenix. He will be my guest next Tuesday. He has his sketchbook on Indiegogo launching now. It is American Discord, DISCHORD.com, American Discord. Please go support it. He's an excellent artist. As a matter of fact, if you look behind me, this is his artwork with the Angel, Apocalypse, and Archangel, so you won't be disappointed if you go support his sketchbook. And come see him next Tuesday on Creatorcon Q&A. Now that we've got all that done, thanks for everybody for showing up tonight. We have special guest Chris Campana. I've known Chris for almost a decade now, to his dismay, but either way, he stuck with me for this point. Chris has done a lot of creator-owned projects, such as The Adventures of Parker Reef and its sequel, Campana, and First World, which are excellent Dungeons and Dragons adventures. He's the Dungeons and Dragons guy, in my opinion. He's done a lot of other things like Pathfinder, etc., etc. He's also done Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cover for IDW and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ghostbusters 2 crossover. So without further ado, my friend Chris Campana.
Yo,
What's going on?
what's up, man? I felt like I was backstage I felt like the Wizard in the Wizard of Oz.
Don't pay any mind to the guy behind the curtain.
Yeah, I was just hanging out back there.
Well, I try to shout out as many people as I can. You know,
No, that's great. No, it's great. Thanks for having me.
They can't all be at your level from the start.
Yeah, they're all better, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I met you 9 years ago. Was it New York Con?
New York Comic Con 2011,
11, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. And you had Campana going on at that time.
Yep.
And we both have a good sarcastic wit, so we just hit it off from the start, you know, ribbing each other. And I just loved your artwork, and I own a lot of your prints and original work. I have a Dark Wolf from you.
Yeah.
I have that framed Dark Wolf. We had a lot in common. We're both Rush fans. We both love Fire and Ice, D&D. So it was kismet.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of. It's weird. Sometimes, like at shows, obviously everybody's kind of got the same fandom sort of stuff, and then every now and then you get somebody who has like the next level, also the personality match too, and we just kind of, we just hit it off.
Yeah, hit it off where sometimes I think you wanted to hit me over the head, but.
No. The only issue ever with you is because we're so comfortable talking, people will walk by and be like, I can't believe the two of them are talking to each other like that.
Fair enough.
That's the issue. I don't know how many sales I've lost by having you at my table.
Oh, man.
No, I'm kidding.
I actually, my first, here's the funny thing. My first original art piece was commissioned by you. It was the Red Lantern Hulk.
Oh, yeah, I remember. I mean, you know what? One day we're gonna have to redraw that, because I'd like to see the difference in almost a decade of how I would approach that.
I'll commission it again.
I remember being very, very, very nervous because I hadn't obviously done a show like New York, and it was I was really, really just intimidated. Even though I wasn't in Artist Alley, we were upstairs in the small press. It's just so much talent in the room. But yeah, I want to redo it. Well, I mean, we'll figure it out.
Well, I loved it personally. So, and I've posted it before, but I know artists tend to look at their older work and they feel they've progressed, and they feel, oh man, I can't believe I drew that. But that's you being your own worst critic. So
I look at stuff from 5 minutes ago and I wish I could redo it.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, Viraj, or Veer. So speaking of which, I met you 9 years ago. Take us back to when you actually started your career, and what was your first gig?
All right, so the first gig I ever had was in 97, 98, and that was for Caliber Comics. It was Negative Burn number 49. It was a 7-page story called Jaden. My 23-year-old son's mother was pregnant. I got hired at a con by Jeff Loeb and Joe Pruitt. They were really, really nice. We hit it off, and Joe put a really good anchor on me, and it looked good. And I was in the industry for a little bit, but then things happen. You have a baby, and then 14 years later, you come back in.
14 years, wow.
14. I took 14 years off. I did little things here and there, like some storyboards for commercials and some video game design, freelance stuff. But being a parent and a freelance artist, it wasn't really conducive to, provide.
Wasn't priority at that time.
Yeah, you just had to make decisions. I will tell you, one of my biggest regrets is right before that, I was living in Cali, and I said no to Nickelodeon. Yeah.
Why?
So I know. So you gotta remember, I'm like 21 years old, and a lot of things were happening that were really positive. I had a bunch of artwork showing in San Diego and all that kind of stuff, and I had a project that was in production at an animation studio, and word got around about it. Nickelodeon was like, yeah, we'd be interested in it, but we're Nickelodeon, and you kill a kid in it, and we can't have that in the book, because Jaden is a resurrected young kid. Like, he died, his whole village gets wiped out, and he gets resurrected.
Back then, that was a no-no. I mean, it's a little commonplace now, but yeah, you didn't kill children back then.
Yeah. So, and I remember, it's so stupid, I guess, but like, I was like, I have artistic integrity. I won't change any of my story. And I said no. I figured they were only the first of many to come knocking, and then everybody lost my address. So.
Well, you know, things happen for a reason, right? I mean,
right.
You know, you seem to be doing very well now. You have a good following, a very strong following, actually, that really appreciates your work. I mean, I see it all the cons, and your table's always busy. You've done a lot for me. I just recently got a Moon Knight commission for you, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But being off for that 14 years, I mean, how does that affect your confidence when you decide, all right, you know what, I'm ready, I'm going to go back into the industry, and let's take a stab at this?
So I actually, that's a really good question, actually. I mean, artists already are like the most egotistical, insecure people in the world at the same time. You know, it's like, come look at my work, buy it, and then when people look at it, you're like, please don't see all the stuff that I hate about it. And then when they walk away, you're like, well, why didn't you buy it? You know, so like, it's this constant struggle of being an artist. But
I have to say that's probably the most honest and sincere description I've ever heard.
Well, you know, it's you have to. I'll answer the question in a second, but like, you have to like your stuff, even though you probably really hate it. But you have to have confidence in your lines, otherwise, that's really going to show in your work. And then if you don't like it, who's going to like it? You know. So it's at least got to be a professional level. But when I took all that time off, the crazy thing is, my son, I had actually, it's kind of a funny story. I had decided I wasn't going to be an artist at all, and I had got certified to be a personal trainer, and I got a job at the gym. And the day before I was to start the gym job, I tore my Achilles.
I remember that.
Yeah, and
you were playing beach volleyball.
I was playing football.
Oh, football. Okay, because I know you play a lot of beach volleyball too.
Yeah, I tore my shoulder on that, but I was playing. And I took my son was going to see Syracuse because he wanted to see colleges when he was younger. And on the way back from the drive to Syracuse, I was like, man, you gotta be about your dreams. You gotta do all this stuff. And he's like, Dad, what was your dream? And I said, and he's like, well, why aren't you doing it? I was like, well, okay. And the next day I drew a Moon Knight drawing, posted it on Facebook, and I got some interest from some other indie creators, and it just sort of went from there. I was doing some small stuff here and there at that time, but it wasn't I hadn't committed to not having a safety net.
Right.
So I jumped off, and I was really, really nervous because those rooms are packed with insanely talented artists, like I said, and it's really, really tough. And you don't have anywhere else to go except you got to bet on yourself. And it was I was panicked, but luckily I have an insanely like supportive fan base, which has stuck with me through everything. And they just sometimes, like, you have that Hulk. Sometimes people will come up to me with a commission that I did like a decade ago or something like that. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Oh my God! Come on, man.
No, but I liked it at the time. You got to start somewhere, right? But I'm like, man,
Well, see, the thing is, art is subjective. I mean, I'm sure they loved it, but
right.
When did you start developing the confidence to draw there at a convention in front of people? I mean, because that's got to be feel like a magnifying glass on you, especially if the person who commissioned it is standing over you.
That, I've spoken to a ton of artists, and that's like it's like performance art, because we're having this conversation. Like, if we were at a show right now, we'd be having this conversation. Maybe somebody else would be there. Maybe someone would come to the table and want to buy something. So you got to stop what you're doing, make change, have conversation, focus on the drawing, make it, a certain level of competency in the art so people actually appreciate it. I guess I started feeling confident maybe 5 years in, maybe 4 years into doing shows, like really confident, where I knew that if I had anything asked, I could at least put something on paper that if it was shared, I wouldn't remove the tag.
Okay. Okay.
Like, nice.
Wow, a lot of self-deprecation going on here today.
Well,
Speaking of which, you have something there that you're going to be working on while we talk.
Yeah, I actually, I was going to do a Dark Wolf, but since you have one, I might do Lion-O, because I'm on like this Masters and Thundercats kick, which is every day for me anyway. And
my kids watch that, the old '80s one. My kids watch it. I love it.
I got to tell you, He-Man doesn't hold up. That cartoon does not hold up. I mean, I'm always going to love it because of what it means to me, but sweet gravy, that is.
Yeah, my kids are watching that in She-Ra now, and the old He-Man. See, I think you're like me. I remember the original idea of He-Man that was in the little comic books that was with each figure, and Dark Horse, I believe it was, collected them all in a hardcover.
Yeah, it's Dark Horse. I have it right next to my table.
Yeah, I have it upstairs, and I remember the cartoon came out. It was cool and all, but I was like, "Who the hell is this Prince Adam crap? What is this?"
It's 100%. I felt like they ruined a lot of. I mean, I get why they did it, because there were so many groups back in the early '80s who you couldn't really have violence in cartoons and stuff like that, and all that stuff. And it was just, they really sort of kiddied it up with the end of the episode, like the more you know kind of thing. And I was like, where's this barbarian guy, and where's my man at arms who didn't have a mustache, was like 90 years old? Like,
why does he look like Tom Selleck in the cartoon? By the way, we're being called out by Mark Torres.
He-Man is awesome. Are you kidding me? I love He-Man. He's all. If I could turn the camera around, he is everywhere in this studio, everywhere.
You got to remember, Chris and I mean, I think we're like old school He-Man. Like, you think you're old school because you love the cartoon. No, like I said, we go back to the comics that came with the figures. He was a barbarian, and Teela was actually a sorceress.
Yeah.
She was a magic user, so it was, and she wore that snake armor and everything. It was totally different to me, and we didn't have the sorceress in Castle Grayskull, so.
No, it was all different. It was, but I remember, like, now they have that Origins line that is exclusive at Walmart. I'm like getting up at 6 a.m. just to go to Walmart to 7 a.m. to be yelled at by employees because they don't have them. And like, it takes me back because I look at like the cross-sell stuff on the back of the packaging, and I'm like, I remember that feeling. It's weird. Like, certain things, like He-Man, Frazetta, there's certain things that weren't just what they were. They kind of carried more.
Yeah.
They resonated with me or impacted me in a different way. Like those figures weren't just figures. They mean something to me. Like, packaging, it carries a certain kind of weight with me that I mean, my whole career is what I love Spidey, I love Moon Knight, I love those characters, but I would draw, He-Man all day long. I don't get tired of drawing those characters like I do get, every now and then it's like I don't want to draw.
You have to go to the toy companies, man, and when they put out the next line, because I think they're even looking at the He-Man movie and another cartoon on Netflix or something, you got to start doing the art on the packaging.
Yeah, well, Axel Jimenez does the art on the packaging, and he destroys it. He's so talented. He's and what's cool about him is he's a good dude, and he's also a big fan of the original like mini comic stuff. He's a big fan of Mark Taylor and Alfredo Alcala. Like, he's a pure He-Man fan. So seeing him do the art, there's nobody better than him to do it. I I had my chance at He-Man for a little bit, years and years ago, and it was fun for a little while. I do have this cool thing that actually is next to me. I have one of my He-Man prints signed by Alan Oppenheimer.
Oh, nice.
The voice.
I have that print.
Yes, yeah. That was a major set. That's probably my best-selling print I've had of like all time.
I have one that you did with Manny Faces and what's his name, Cyclone. Yeah, I have that one too.
Oh my!
Of course, I have that one.
Oh my God!
Yeah, man. Listen, I have all vintage Chris Campana. Vintage.
Oh man!
I have it all upstairs in a portfolio book, and I have the Dark Wolf framed, and I have the other the Hulk framed too. Yeah. And you also did a Nightcrawler for me that I have. You were very kind to do a head bust because I love
a
headshot. So I have the Nightcrawler.
There's somebody right now on eBay who's selling a print of mine that I did for $10. He's got it up there for it's an old Spider-Man print that I did. And no joke, he's selling it for $199, and it's a $10 print. Wow. With a COA, and I'm like, I didn't sign a certificate of authenticity with this thing, and if I did, who's selling this for? No one's gonna buy it. But I'm just like,
you never know. They'll just keep putting it up, and someone will think it's original or something, and you never know.
I don't know. I think they're just gonna keep paying the relist fee.
Maybe. I don't know. I have a few. You had a really good Venom piece that you did early on too. I have that. Black Panther, a bunch. I have the Batman Moon Knight one you did together.
Yep.
Some good stuff, man. Good stuff. You and I also have similar tastes in who we like as far as characters.
Yeah.
But what are you drawing there? Can we take a look?
Well, I just started. Let me get a little bit into it, and then we'll have an idea.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're getting a lot of feedback from the mic when we hooked up the camera to have you see him and the drawing at the same time. So my apologies for those technical difficulties. So speaking of characters, if you had your choice as far as a publisher to work for, a title to work for, and a creative team, what would you choose?
This is going to sound corny, but right now I'm working on a book with my buddy Garrett Gunn, who's writing it, who's done Franklin and Ghost and some other stuff with Source Point Press. And we're doing a book called Call the Ravens Home, and it's like a Norse mythology kind of book.
Nice.
And he is giving me basically carte blanche to draw a He-Man style book, just with obviously different character designs. And I had a blast with the initial pages. We're pitching to a couple of companies right now. If not, we'll publish through Last Wolf Legion, which is these guys. Dash Martin, who colors a lot of my stuff, is doing the colors. The whole team is really, really good. If it wasn't something like that, if it was a well-known IP, it's tough because there's a lot of writers that I like, but I collect comics more for the art. Okay. I'll leave a title if the artist I like working on it leaves and the artist who comes on isn't somebody that I prefer, I'll leave it even if it's well written. And that's nothing against writers. I'm looking at the pages to see composition and how they're telling their story and what speaks to me artistically. I think it was, you would know, is it Rick Remender and Jerome Opeña who did
for Image? Oh my God, Seven to Eternity.
That book, I probably have Rick Remender write anything.
Right.
His writing was that book is so good.
And visually, I mean, when Opeña was on it, I know there were some issues he wasn't. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, it's gorgeous to look at. It's very interesting. It's a saga, a type fantasy. I mean, it's got a lot going on. The Mud King. Yeah, it's a good book.
Yeah, really good book. If I could write a book, the artist I would have would probably be, that's tough. It would probably be Immonen was probably the best storyteller that I've ever seen. John Romita Jr. is probably one of the best storytellers. Ryan Otley is, I love Ryan Otley.
Yeah.
Joe Mad.
Who doesn't love them?
Yeah, Lashley, Bradshaw, those guys, there's such power and dynamic stuff in their pencils, and they're just so good. And plus, they're good people, so I think I'd like working with them. But, it's hard to – I guess I'm kind of dodging it. It's hard to pick one.
You sure are.
Yeah. So
you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
If somebody wanted to write a really badass Thundercats or He-Man thing, like that crossover, or like a Thundar the Barbarian.
Yes, there we're talking. Now we're talking. I love my daughters. We're in the car, and they start humming the theme song to Thundar. I couldn't have been prouder. I mean, we're talking about two little girls. And I have the toys right here, and they play with them all the time. I have the figures.
I love Thundar the Barbarian. Has anybody ever actually found out what Lamach is?
I have no idea. I don't know. He's the wannabe Chewbacca, I guess. But I always said that's a movie, if you adapt it to live action and did with a good budget, would be phenomenal. I mean, the cartoon alone was like watching a movie. The beginning was epic, where the world was, the apocalypse started and everything, the music, and it was just, it was so epic for a cartoon that I really, if I was to see something adapted, I would love to see that adapted to a book and to a movie, a live action movie.
Yeah, that or even Space Ghost. I'd really like to work on Space Ghost too.
What's that one?
Space Ghost.
Oh yeah, my kids watch that too. I got them on the classics, man.
Oh, dude, you're doing a hell of a job. I remember in 2000 when the new He-Man cartoon came out, I put Jaden in the car every day, and we went looking for those figures. And we watched that cartoon like it was our job. That was.
I have to tell you, you know what I liked that first episode? The bad guys kicked the good guys' rear ends. They actually were a threat. That's the other thing I hate about He-Man is a hero's only as good as the villain is a threat, in my opinion. I mean, if the villain always loses and walks away with his tail between his legs, how are you building a hero to be a hero when it's simple? I mean, it's like watching a 15-year-old beat up a 5-year-old. There's no heroism in that. It's not exactly interesting to me.
All right.
Not that I'm recommending anybody do a cartoon about a 15-year-old beating up a 5-year-old, but you know.
I understand. I'll let you live on that one by yourself.
Yeah. Keith Brunswick asked if you read the new He-Man comics that came out from DC.
The stuff that Tim Seeley's writing, the new stuff with like anti-attorney and He-Man stuff like that. The trade comes out next month. I have read some of it. I think Tim's really talented. I know he's a really, really big He-Man fan, but I haven't read enough of it to the story.
I'm still. What's that?
It's like a multiverse story, though. It really opened up the world.
See, I would love to see them just do a. I guess it's considered a remake, but redo the original He-Man that we were talking about before and put that in the story. I would love that. The alternate He-Man at this point. Not that space He-Man that came out in the 90s that was horrible.
Oh, yeah, the Adventures He-Man. We don't talk about that one, man.
Yeah, dude, yeah. We don't speak of it's like Voldemort. That you shall not speak, the name that you shall not speak.
Yeah, we do not talk about that. New Adventures is something that didn't happen.
So you have a love for Dungeons and Dragons, obviously, and I know that you started with your book Kintara. What were your inspirations as far as that realm, that universe, the Dungeons and Dragons type thing? What were your inspirations?
That's all Frazetta. That's Frazetta on a smaller level. Earl Norham, Brahm, but Frazetta. I was 10 years old. And I remember it as clear as day. My mom took me to a video store named Video Vix, and I saw the cover of Fire and Ice. And little did we know that Tigra's like naked through half the movie.
I was gonna say you're 10.
Yeah, I grew up real quick.
Well, Well, now we know why you like Fire and Ice so much.
For lard.
You ran out that VHS. You wore it out real quick.
Well, there's something wrong with the disc.
Yeah.
But I watched that, and it just, you know what it was, man? Like, the timing of it was perfect, because I was 8 when I got my first He-Man figure, and I was 10 when I saw Fire and Ice, and it just hit. It was, you know, it was absolutely perfect, and that world, to me, like, sports history stuff, like Conan, like old Buscema and Alcala Conan.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, yeah.
Like the oversized magazine stuff. Like, you know, and then I realized that Alcala also was drawing He-Man. It was like it was meant to be. You know? So
I really wanted a Dark Wolf figure, man. Oh, I wanted the figures from that. I wanted them to make figures. I would have loved that.
There's a whole bunch of customs. There's some guys who took some of the, like, the He-Man classics, like the Motu classic stuff, and if you look online, there's a bunch of custom Dark Wolf figures that some of them are really, really well done.
Yeah, I've never seen them. By the way, just so you know, your audio has been a little sketchy for a minute there. Is your mic catching your voice? Like, is it a good spot?
Oh, okay. So what do you need from me?
You're good when you're looking straight, but I guess if you turn away, I don't know, maybe you're turning away from the mic.
Yeah. Maybe I'll lean in a little bit. So, and
we get a close up, everybody.
You don't want it. It's so dark here.
So those are your influences, and you decided. At what point did you decide? You know what? I want to create my own Dungeons and Dragons universe, my own fantasy. You know what made you decide to do that, and then how'd you go about starting that?
So it was. It's really about, that's the stuff that I like drawing the most.
Okay.
That's I really like drawing that stuff the most. And, you know, with Kantara, it was, I wanted to draw dragons because I think dragons are the coolest things. And sat down with my buddies. We, you know, created this storyline. We went really deep into it. In fact, we used to joke about the fact that we wanted to make sure we had it fleshed out more than He-Man was fleshed out. Because, you know, who knew what that story was really about? And, you know, it's like Ular, Power Vest, He-Man. What are we doing? So we just went that route. See, the problem with Sword and Sorcery, though, which I found out real quick, is it's really hard to identify with. You know, like Conan's a great character, but can you really identify with a character like Conan?
Right.
It's challenging.
Well, there's not a lot of depth to his character, and it's not like he's not someone who's going through this process of evolving as a person. So it is hard. Right.
Like the best character I think ever created is Peter Parker, because everyone was a nerd. Everyone pretty much got picked on or picked on somebody. Everybody struggled with money at one point in their life, and everyone has done something they felt responsible for that they wish they could change.
Right.
That's Peter Parker.
Agreed.
You know, he's just the best character. You know, you could argue that maybe his Rogues isn't as good as Batman's or whatever, you know, or who knows. But Pete and Spidey are the best single character ever created because of what I just said. So it's hard, Sword and Sorcery wise, to get that, because you're living in this world that nobody can identify with because it's such a fantasy kind of world. There's wizards and dragons and all this stuff. So that's the big challenge for me anyway, you know, for Sword and Sorcery. But I love drawing it so much, so I keep doing it.
So you had a friend, Mike. He was writing it. You were doing all the illustrations. Did you learn a lot from doing the sequentials on that book?
Yeah, it's something that if I ever had the time, I would like to go back and redraw Kantara. Not because I hate it so much, but because I'd like to tell the story. I don't know if properly is the right word, but
more through the art as opposed to the text.
Yeah, I know I could have told a better story cinematically. I know I could have moved the camera around more. I know I could have led the eye more. I know I could have done more innovative panel layouts. I just really didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
I just comic book art gets a lot of people don't really see it for what it is. I mean, you're telling a story with no sound, no motion, and it has to be all these things.
Right.
It has to be, the art has to be appealing. You've got to be talented in perspective and anatomy and acting, their faces and their hands. There's a lot of things that go into drawing comics that I don't think people think about. Not because they don't want to. They just don't know that, I don't know how to do certain other jobs. I just think people realize how challenging it can be and how you're always learning. Like when I just did Chosen, my last indie book that just came out 2 weeks ago, the things I was doing with panel layout and structure and stuff, it's starting to feel instinctual a little more. Like it's starting to feel like I'm getting it.
Right.
I'm telling better stories. The Raven stuff that we're doing, the layouts are stronger. They feel. I mean, I could draw, and I always wanted to be a good storyteller. But basically, I'm just learning how to do it even, hopefully, better.
Well, I think as a fan who reads, I think for us, it's not a conscious understanding of when we see that proper sequential art and storytelling, but we do notice when it's not proper.
Right.
It's like we may not realize what it is that we're seeing that's off, but we do recognize, hey, wait a minute, this isn't gelling like that other person. By the way, Bill Raup I announced him he has his own book. He said to say hello.
What's up, Bill?
Yeah, he's working on his own Indiegogo right now.
Nice.
So tell us about Chosen.
Well, Chosen is, again, the sword and sorcery stuff. The problem with sword and sorcery, and I did this with First World and Kantara, it's too much about destiny. It's too much about as long as you do this, everything's fine. We've talked about this. It's destined warrior. You're the chosen one. You were born to do this. As long as you defeat this, or as long as you get this ring or this sword or whatever, you're good to go. And that's a problem because how am I really invested in the character when I kind of know they're going to get it? They're going to make it. So Chosen, we all know.
I have to say, you're really great at plugging your own stuff.
Wait, here's where the plug comes. So Chosen is not that. Chosen is what if destiny chose wrong.
Okay, nice. Like that twist.
But the last person to know is the one who was chosen.
Okay.
So, this character is going around, and again, issue 1 is the only issue that's out now, and it's getting good reviews, thankfully.
And who's publishing it? Who's it through?
That's all me.
Oh, is it out in comic stores? Can we request it?
There's no distribution for it now.
Okay.
Like
so
I said,
we'll reach out to you then.
Yeah, and my site will be up, I guess, in like a week or two. If you go on my Instagram, Campana Art, you can just, message me and you can see a bunch of artwork from it. But it's the character in the book, like she's going through the whole thing as if she's of that mindset. Well, as long as I do this, because she it's like when you watch a horror movie, and you're like, have any of these people ever watched a damn horror movie? Don't they know not to go into that room?
It's like that Geico commercial where let's go hide behind the chainsaws.
Yeah, exactly. So she knows what destiny is and all that kind of stuff. She's read ancient tomes and all these things. So she is just purely of the belief that she's going to do it. And the world around her is falling apart. And she's just got this, well, I'm chosen. We're good to go. And that's, to me, it was a really, hopefully good way to write a character and the supporting characters that were different than a lot of other sword and sorcery sort of epic tale things.
Because it can become cliche after a while with the Destiny thing. So you did a nice reversal on that.
Right.
Sweet.
Well, we'll see.
Well, you heard him. Everybody just reach out to him if you're interested. I think it sounds good. Actually, I want to get a copy from you.
Yeah.
Reach out. I'll buy one, but reach out to Chris for Chosen. I think it's a great twist, and when can we expect a second issue?
So right now, I'm working on Raven, and I have Parker 2, which is due out late October, early November. And there's something else that it's a small 12-page story that I have to start in September that I can't say yet. It's for an indie publisher. But I'm signed on to do that. And
Glad you're keeping busy.
You know, if something big comes up, you know, sometimes the indie stuff unfortunately goes to the side because the bigger stuff, it pays more and whatever. But
right
now that's what's going on. I just got another Turtles cover. I can't say what it's for. It's a store exclusive. That just happened Friday.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, that was cool.
Dude, what a show. We're getting like the up-to-date information.
It's been tough, man. You know, obviously everybody's going through so much stuff and
breaking news.
Like, yes, that's right. I should have worn like a Ron Burgundy suit or something like that. Yeah. Broke all this news. I have chosen somewhere in here, but I don't want to get up and like knock the laptop over and ruin the mic.
Yeah, because why be on a Q&A to promote yourself and have anything to actually show and promote? I mean, why would we do that? You know,
let me just show you my and stuff. You want to see my Spider-Man action figure?
There you go. Sweet. So First World, I mean, are you ever going to revisit that, go back to that, or?
Yeah, actually, I don't know if anybody, I didn't show me if anybody's watching. Hopefully they are.
Yeah, there's 15 people in the room right now.
Hello. First World is near and dear to me. That came out in 2014. There's been 7 issues of it. And, you know, indie comics, again, you do it between other gigs. It's got a really good fan base. I love those characters. I needed to take a break from it because as I was thanks, Andy. I had to I just had to, you know, it's like sometimes I don't know if it's like this for every creator, but you get so invested into a project and you get so invested into the characters. I was almost too close to it where I wasn't realizing the mistakes I was making when I was writing it.
I can understand that. And
I read like issue 5 at first, and I'm like, man, they haven't left this rock. Like there's like a whole issue in this city called Quanta, and I'm like, has anyone moved?
Yeah.
No one's moved.
Yeah, but it's because you're doing all the character development. That's
right. Right. Well, yeah, First World suffered from a little bit of overwriting in the first issue or 2. But by issue 5 or 6, I got it. But then, like I said, I looked back and I was like, it needs a break. But the cool thing is, somebody just slid a copy of Chosen underneath my door, by the way.
Nice.
I still can't reach it.
Yeah, that's your producer.
I still can't make it all the way to the floor to get it.
Listen, it's okay if an arm comes onto the screen. They can even say hello. We're cool.
If that door opens up, my dog's going to come in here and rip apart everything because he's not.
Yeah, your dog is a riot.
He's not getting any attention right now, and I don't even know what he's doing out in the house.
That's a big baby you got there.
Yeah, he's spoiled. All right, so the thing with First World that's cool, and this isn't really too much of a spoiler. So Parker 2 has First World characters in it.
No kidding, that's awesome.
Yeah, so Parker, for those that don't know, Parker is he's passed away. He's on this adventure, and he has a pencil, and the pencil can draw anything that I drew when I used it. So in the adventure, because he's read my books and because he like has the pencil, when he's getting attacked by certain monsters, he draws First World characters to try to combat them.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, it was a cool. I appreciate that because I was like, man, this is because Parker 1, Gigantic, was a very popular character.
Yeah, well, you made the statue out of him.
Yeah, he was really, really. I do have that here. Here's the statue.
Oh, that's something. We need props.
Man, you can see the He-Man influence on this guy.
I remember when you posted asking people for suggestions on his names. We can't repeat some of those names that were suggested. But
yeah, he's cool though, right?
Oh yeah.
his coloring book comes out in October, November too. But
Oh, cool.
yeah,
I didn't know about that.
that'll be cool. But anyway, so with this book, you know, I read a bunch of stuff about doing sequels. I know I'm hopping from First World to Parker, but they're kind of sort of in the same. I didn't want to fall into the trap of doing sequel stuff, so I was like, well, you got to introduce new characters. You can't be in the same environment. You know, you don't want to rehash part one. You know, no matter how emotional a story is, and no matter how impactful a story is, you're still writing a story and an adventure. And I thought a great way to do that was to bring in these new characters who already have an established personality.
Right. And
some of the fan base knows them. And it'll really be fun to watch him interact with them and then what happens in the story. So I am drawing them with that. First World issue 8, I know exactly what I'm doing with it. But now I'm kind of in a weird spot because I have Chosen, I have First World, I've got Parker, which is done after part 2. But what I'm thinking of doing is like a sword and sorcery anthology where half of it is First World and half of it's Chosen. So it's like a 44-page book or whatever.
Can you do it in like a graphic novel format or?
Yeah, like you get issue 8 of First World and you get issue 2 of Chosen, and then if one fan base sees the other, you know, it's like a cross sell.
Gotcha.
Kind of thing. So we'll see. It's coming, but.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, First World, I read the first 4 issues. I have them. I liked it, and I hope this comes out the right way, but I could see your progression as an sequential storyteller. Also, the writing is definitely evolved as well. I did like Kintara, but this was definitely well worth the read. I recommend everybody check it out.
Thanks, brother.
Chosen, I do want to get a copy because that really sounds interesting. And I have to say, your original pages from these books, the pencils, I don't know if I'm sure these are fans. They've seen your portfolio. It shows. Your original pencils to these books are phenomenal. They're very tight. And you can see your love and passion. I mean, like the one where you draw the giant dragon head in the panel. The dragon is just so detailed and it's so beautiful. And I have to say, honestly, people should check out your original page if you have any left because they were phenomenal.
Thanks, man. I actually, the guy who hired me to do Vampirella Pathfinder for Dynamite, I sent him stuff. He's a really, 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 really nice guy. Good dude. He was an editor for DC for a while. His name is Anthony, and he also owns like the Kubert School now.
Oh, Anthony Marks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, really, really just great guy. In fact, we even played football together, which that was an adventure. But I sent him Chosen pages, and it was a great compliment. He's like, "These are the best pages you've ever done," and that was really because anyone can tell you that, and it's not that everybody's opinion isn't nice to hear, and it means a lot because any compliment is a great compliment because you're an artist. But someone who really knows what to look for,
right,
like a trained eye.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was an editor, so.
Yeah, so I really appreciate it in a different way. It doesn't. It's not that it means. It's hard to say because I don't want to.
Well, knowing that he has the eye to see the things on a critical level that the average fan wouldn't, when he compliments you, I'm sure to you it's like, well, I'm getting it right. I'm doing it the professional way. I mean, there's one thing for us to say aesthetically it looks fantastic, but for a peer of yours,
right,
to tell you, look, you're getting it right as far as the industry standards, as far as the education behind it, and the what makes it a skill that you can do that I can't.
Well, yeah, you're right because it's one of those things now. I've been doing this full time for a few years now, and how do I say this? I know I do pro level work, but there's always artists who are better, and you should always work to be better. But it's nice to know that the hours and the work that you have done and the time you've put in has made your pages strong enough where here's a perfect example. A couple years ago, I showed my stuff to a very big editor, and they really, really liked it. And they said, you're almost at the point where all we're going to do is nitpick. You're almost there. And it was a massive compliment, and I understood what it meant.
Of course.
And now what's really cool is, at least in those pages and some of the other pages that have gotten me gigs, there's no nitpick. You know, is there a pinky that could be this, or is there an eye that maybe is a little, you know, whatever? Sure. But the perspective's good, the storytelling's good, the anatomy for the most part is good, and the acting is good. And that, for me, because the opinion of my peers and the industry is so important to me because they paved the way for me to have a job.
Sure.
That means that at least I'm getting better at my craft. And to me, if I'm ever remembered as anything doing comics, it's to be a storyteller.
Right.
You know, so if I'm getting to the point where we're only nitpicking, or there isn't even nitpicking, I mean, you could always nitpick something. I mean, you could look at anybody's work and be like, wow, I wish they hadn't done that. But at least, you know, technically it's good.
Right.
So that's important to me.
So let me ask you, and I always wonder this, and maybe this is a silly question, but when you're doing your sequential, your storytelling, a lot of people don't realize that there's poses and then there's kinetic energy.
Right.
And telling that story, how did you come about, you know, really getting to understand how to add that kinetic energy to any panel that you do?
Well, you know, that's really, that's an incredible question, because that's the acting part of drawing comics.
Right.
You know, that's when somebody talks, their hands are moving. You know, everybody isn't always just like,
yeah, exactly, right.
That's a pose. You know, if we're having this conversation, if you and I are standing by a water cooler right now having this conversation, we're not like just stand like this and all our muscles are flexed and, you know, we're just like thing. Yeah.
I can't believe it's not butter.
Exactly. Like it's just, we're both like we're Hans and Franz. Like we're
here to pump you up.
Exactly. So we're just dated ourselves. But you know, that's where you get the kinetic energy. Like some artists I know don't like doing talking head pages, and the talking head pages where there's no real action, we're just telling the story.
Right.
I like those because those are the ones that really challenge your storytelling abilities. I mean, drawing an action sequence sequentially, you gotta make sure if somebody's throwing a right, in the next panel the person's reacting like it was a right hand instead of a left, and all those kinds of things. But a talking head page and those kinds of pages, for me, that's where you get the acting.
The facial expressions, the hand gestures, and those are the two toughest things to draw. I mean,
right. That's important. I mean, on an action page, you know, there's a facial expression, there's kinetic energy and what's happening, but you can capture because it's on a bigger scale and you get to kind of have fun and really dig into those details. But if you're drawing, like years and years ago, when I was trying to get a job with Marvel, I was young. Like I'm talking like 96. And I remember I brought my portfolio into New York Comic-Con. Or I don't remember what show it was. Maybe it wasn't New York. It was somewhere. But I remember not flying there, so it was close. And I thought I thought I was like the bee's knees. I was like, man, I'm getting this job like nobody's business. I got so torn apart. And the guy looked at me, and he was right. He was like, man, you could draw an okay Spidey, but he said, can you draw Pete and MJ having coffee? And I said, no. Because I didn't know perspective well enough. I didn't know environment layout well enough. I didn't know construction and acting well enough. So to do it, to get it right is practice. It's reference. You got to use reference. I mean, and then at one point you get to the point where I think you don't need it as much, but there's nothing wrong with using reference.
So, I mean, would you tell an aspiring artist, just try to sit in a park bench and draw naturally what people are doing in their natural habitat, walking, talking, to try to really, because it's hard enough to draw from your mind as it is, never mind. Now you're trying to draw a facial expression, but again, they're constantly changing when you're using live people, you know what I mean? Because if you're drawing someone posing, then you're not getting the kinetic energy. It's just another pose.
Right.
So would you recommend just imitate life, watch people in their natural movements, and try to draw them as best as you can?
Whenever I'm at a show or online and somebody asks,
thank you, Ron.
somebody says like, what would you like suggest for an aspiring artist or something like that? I always say draw from real life, because if you learn anatomy from comic books, you're probably not learning
real anatomy.
We all kind of break.
Real anatomy is pear shaped.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, I remember, everybody knows this. To learn to you gotta learn the rules before you break the rules. So if you're dealing in a fantastical world with these insanely, disproportionate figures, you got to still kind of know where the muscles and everything work, so you can exaggerate them.
Right.
So I would say grab a sketchbook, go to the mall, social distance, and draw somebody drinking a cup of coffee.
And there is your safety tip for the week, folks. Social distance.
That's it.
Well, I kind of feel upset that I'm not getting royalties because they keep using my anatomy for all these books.
You know what? You bring up a good point, though. Here's something. I can't remember what book it was, but I remember I was doing a story, and I was proud of myself, as silly as this sounds, because I started drawing not everybody with perfect bodies. Like in the crowd.
Good.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like a social statement, but it was one of those things where I was like, I was getting better at storytelling. Like the crowd wasn't just everybody was the same sort of, stereotypical whatever. Like somebody maybe looked like this and somebody looked like that, and maybe this person had this kind of hair, and it was again that world building and that learning how to tell a story and mixing up the look, because not everybody looks the same, and
right.
I didn't always do that when I was younger. I didn't always do that,
right?
Because I wasn't thinking about that. I was just thinking about, I gotta draw something cool. So.
That reminds me of the first time that I can remember that someone focused on a character that had, they were overweight, they weren't a regular body type, was a Harbinger in Valiant.
Dave,
the heavy-set blonde girl that could fly. I forgot what her name was, and it actually touched on like the buff guy with the red hair, and his girlfriend would mock her and make fun of her, but it was done naturally. It wasn't like this agenda, written message, a social message. I just thought it was real. It's good to see that every once in a while that, heroes aren't chiseled all the time. There is real anatomy out there somewhere. And also because, I'm a fat guy, so I can appreciate a fat character. And, I relate.
If I can make it serious for a second.
Faith. Thank you, William. Faith. That's it.
I talked about this on this other thing that I had done a couple of weeks ago. I have this nonprofit, and I don't want to jump the shark. We're talking about it for a second, but I was doing a toy drive, and I remember being in a couple different stores, and all these toys were going to hospitals, right? For like kids and all that kind of stuff. And I remember I couldn't find anything but white action figures, and everybody looked the same. And I remember thinking, yeah, it's cool. If you're any color, you could like white superheroes, but where are all the superheroes that aren't white? And it kind of speaks to we kind of fell into this little it had to be this way, and it's cool to see that the world of comics and everything else is expanding to have different shapes, different colors, different genders, like and as long as it's not forced, as long as there's purity in like the story and the character,
right.
Like I love seeing that, and it just struck me that we need more of those characters. It doesn't mean that we have to have less of what we have. We just could have more other cool characters,
right?
And I think it's important because it's nice for everybody to be able to identify on a different level with certain things.
Well, to me, even the crappiest character with the right writer, no matter what the character is, the right writer will make them something interesting. I mean, you saw Aquaman was a joke, and Jeff Johns came in and put him on the map. I mean, I don't know if you ever read that book during the DC 52, but Jeff Johns took over Aquaman after Green Lantern, and he actually, in the writing, addressed how Aquaman was always revered as a joke, and it was brilliant.
I hope my buddy Ian isn't watching, because my buddy Ian Nichols, who is a fantastic artist, works on the team that a bunch of Turtles covers.
I know his work. Very good. Excellent.
Aquaman's his favorite, so he will fight you.
I'm saying he's not a joke. I'm saying, he was treated like a joke, and Jeff Johns really made him respectable and credible based on, the way they were treating him. So
I think Aquaman should take on Merman.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, my commissions, I have my theme books, DC versus Marvel. I am going to be doing Masters of the Universe versus He. Oh, yeah, I'm going to reach out to you, of course. I'm going to do the likeness, the archetypes, Merman and Aquaman, etc. So it'll be fun. Well, you could have Aquaman telling Merman to punch himself in the face.
Well, wait, Merman can speak to fish too.
Oh, can he? I don't remember that.
Yeah, well,
I remember he sounded like he was gargling water every time he talked.
with that damn corn sword of his.
Yeah, the corn sword. Oh my God!
I'll tell you what I'm working on. I am actually drawing He-Man.
Nice. I like the face, the grim face, and I love that you put the axe in there. Everybody forgets the axe, man. He had the axe, the sword, and the shield. I
always draw him with the axe.
I know your prints have it, yeah.
And the new print, it's actually I think it's one of the. I was always afraid to draw these characters because I didn't think they were ever going to match up to what was in my head.
Right.
But I actually really like the He-Man that I drew this time, at least for now. Like a month from now, I'll be like, this is absolute crap. But
by the way, no, sorry, wrong one. I forgot about this. They did have an Aquaman versus Merman action figure set. That's right.
Well, yeah, they had that. They had Green Lantern and Zodak, He-Man and Superman, and there was a Stratos. Who was
Hawkman? Was it Stratos Hawkman?
Stratos Hawkman, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about those.
Those were Toys R Us exclusives.
Yeah. I hope Toys R Us comes back.
Yeah, they were supposed to, weren't they?
Yeah, they're going to be Jeffrey's Toy Box or something like that. I guess COVID kind of screwed that all up. So what is the craziest commission request you ever got? I ask this often because I always find this interesting.
All right, so I've told this story a bunch. I have two.
Good.
One was in Asbury Park, New Jersey, at a bowling alley. It was one of the first Asbury Park Comic-Cons, and it was early on in my career, and I was taking every commission that people asked me to do, like every commission. I was like, sure.
I'm getting scared. I'm getting scared when you preface it with that. I can imagine what this is going to be.
This is one of the only things that's actually going to match up to your frightful level that you got going on right now. So this guy comes to the table and he's like, "Will you draw me the Blueberry Girl from Willy Wonka?"
Oh, okay.
And I didn't want to, but I was sitting with Ron and Mike at the time, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, yeah." So it's I draw my own paper, and it's like this, it's like a piece of 8.5 by 11, loose leaf paper, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I start drawing it. He's like, "I'll come back to check on it in a little bit." And he comes back and he says, "Oh, no. Can you put her in a bikini? And can you make her boobs bigger?" I was like,
okay.
I do need money.
Wow.
So now this is where it gets even worse. So he comes.
Wait a minute, there's more?
Yeah. He comes back. This is true. This is true. If you Google Blueberry Girl, you will see that this is a thing. This is an actual thing. He comes back and says, "Can you add juices?"
What?
And I was like, "You know what, man? I can't do it. I can't do this commission." And I handed it back the paper. And he came back an hour later and threw the paper down on my table and said, "Somebody else could do it for me." And I was like, "Okay, man, that's totally fine."
That's
Are you Googling it right now?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
It's not great.
What's that?
It's not great. You Google.
I'm seeing some really. What is wrong with people?
I'm telling you, man.
Some of these are.
Yeah.
Woo. Okay.
It's a whole thing.
Apparently, there's a lot of other Willy Wonka going on right now.
Willy Wonka.
Oh my Lord! So what's the second one?
The second one was Wizard World Philly, 2013, 2014. Before that show became an absolute joke, and it was somebody asking me to draw a girl having sex with a panda.
With a what?
A panda.
A panda.
A panda.
And I mean, what goes through your mind when you hear something like that?
With the part that was so strange to me was he's like, I have reference.
Wow. All right. So don't touch the stuffed animals in that house.
I think what he meant is he had what other artists had done with it. So what I ended up doing is I said, look, man, I won't draw that, but I'll draw a girl in like a panda bikini, like a panda themed bikini, like with like ears or like, like a furry sort of thing. But I'm not going to draw like a woman having sex with a panda. But those are the two worst ones I've ever had. This past year in Chicago, I had a guy who I think was with his mom ask me to draw Wolverine naked with his back to the viewer drinking out of a gallon of milk. And I was like, it was one of those commissions, and I think a lot of people know what I'm talking about, where I quoted a high price that if he said it, I had to do it. But like I quoted like this ridiculous price for it. No, he didn't. He was like, I have to come back. I quoted a ridiculous number on it. But
see, how are you not embarrassed to approach someone and ask them to draw this crazy crap, especially the blueberry girl and the panda thing? I mean, how would you? I mean, even if you secretly were a freak and you had your freak on, how do you just not feel awkward going up and say, hey, how you doing? You don't know me, but can you draw a panda screwing a woman? I mean, what?
Well, I think one of the coolest things about Comic-Con is that you're there and you feel pretty safe because everybody's got sort of, everybody's got, their fandoms and they're there and it's like a safe space for you to be into whatever you're into. And I always say it's so weird. Like you could have people from all different like sexual orientations and race and all this stuff, and we're all get along inside of Comic-Con, and then everybody hates each other outside of a Comic-Con, which is a joke to me. But I feel comfortable because it's art,
right?
And they ask. I did one thing with the Wolverine thing that message from William just made me think about is I was like, yeah, man, and we could have like his claws through the gallon and like milk's going everywhere and stuff like that. Like I kind of went along with it, but
and they watch me like, but I want it dripping down his back into the crack of his butt.
I remember saying it. I was like, dude, it's just gonna be all hair. Like Wolverine's a hairy guy.
It'll be like next 4. Like it goes down in the.
This is gonna be cross-hatched hair, my guy. It's not gonna really work out that well. So.
By the way, it's funny because we're here doing this interview, but you really would think you and I were just talking at a convention.
That's the truth.
We're just whatever. We don't even know anymore. We're just going off about the crazy stuff.
Well, I've lost so many sales while you're at my table.
Oh, man. You keep saying that. Now you start to make me feel bad.
No, I'm only messing with you.
Well, I remember that Doctor Who guy that was next to you.
I remember what you said to that Doctor Who guy. That was
yeah, we're not going to, because he was, anyway. Yeah, let's move on. I shouldn't have brought that up.
Man, Mike hated you that day.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I like Mike, and, we were just all busting each other's chops, and I really don't know. I didn't even know he was taking it serious because he was laughing with us. So,
it is what it is.
Oh, well, it is what it is. I can be colorful at times, I think. So it drives my wife crazy.
That's
but right. You were talking about how can you draw Colossus in a romper? By the way, Dan is a funny guy.
Again, Dan?
Yeah, again. Sorry, Gallo. I can't. I'm not telling the Doctor Who story. I'll tell you on the side, but I'm not telling you here live.
Yeah, we're not going to tell that.
Let's just say he aggravated me, and my Irish came out. But it's funny. You had mentioned, how we all are at each other's throats, but at a con we get along, and that is so true. It's one of the reasons why I do this show. It's just I try to promote the unity of things, you know. And I've met a lot of people through conventions and through commissions, and good people that I've either become friends with or I'm friendly with, you know. And when I see them, it's like, hey Phil, how you doing, and vice versa. And yeah, it's nice, you know. And I miss cons, so I wanted to ask, what do you think about these virtual cons that are going on? Because I really think they miss everything that you love about a con.
You know, I remember Heroes on 2012.
Yeah.
I remember walking into that show, and it was my first time there. Might have been 2013, whatever. And I remember feeling at home. Like, I remember feeling
That's
like
an artist show.
I love that show. The people involved with that show, that's in my top 3 favorite shows.
I know it's number 1, right? You were there last April.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because the food in the back. that was a good food, right?
Yeah, that ran out in 5 seconds thanks to the vendors. And I had to hurry up and get more because Scott Williams, Alex Sinclair, and Bagley didn't even get any.
I didn't get it.
I told you I'd bring it to your table.
I feel weird eating at the table because it's like if somebody comes to you, like a plate full of food. Like, I feel weird, like, eating at the table. But
hey, that's on you, buddy. I had it there for you.
People do like protein bars all the time because you gotta eat something. But when I went to Creatorcon, that show just feels like a Comic-Con. It feels like a comic book convention. It's not a pop culture show where, like, and you know, if you do it, it's fine. Where it's I remember I was at a show, and like the big celebrity was like the bicycle zombie from season 1 of The Walking Dead, and I was like, this isn't a Comic-Con. You know, this isn't like this is different, and it is what it is. Like, I love New York Comic-Con. I love Fan Expo shows because the people who run Artist Alley and people who are involved with the talent Artist Alley love comics.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those shows get bad raps, but they love comics like we love comics.
Right.
You know, and the people who do Baltimore and Heroes and Terrificon and some of the people involved with, you know, like Rhode Island Comic Con, all these shows, there is something different about walking into the show because there's this electricity in the air. Mm-hmm. We're all there and we're all excited about maybe not the same thing, but the same kinds of things.
Right.
You know,
well, it's funny because I try to fashion my show. I want to be the Heroes and the Baltimores and the Terrificons of the convention. That's why I don't go with celebrities. My celebrities are you guys, you know, and I love those shows. And you're right, there's an energy. I mean, nothing against pop culture shows, but you know, pop culture has gone away from the comic aspect of things, and you know, there's a lot of true comic fans that are like, hey, I want to be able to go bin hopping for an entire day, you know.
Well, that, you know, those pop culture shows, I get it. You know, I know what drives ticket sales, but
right.
You know, I don't care if you have 1,000 celebrities at a show if you promote the artists as much as you promote the celebrities.
Right. Because
if a lot of these celebrities are in comic book movies and you're promoting a lot of cosplay and stuff like that, which is great. You know, I'm not talented enough to do some of the cosplays that people come up with. I mean, it's insane. But there'd be nothing to cosplay as and nothing to be as in a movie if you didn't have the creators who created those characters first for comics.
Right.
You know, so they should be celebrated. There are people who created characters that are so iconic, like they're literally like part of the fabric of how kids grow up.
Yep.
You know?
That's right.
And the people who work on those characters should be celebrated. You know,
agreed.
You know, and they should be celebrated as much as the actor who played the character in a movie, or as much as the cosplayer who, you know, does this amazing cosplay as the character. That they're all talented and they're all worthy of being, you know.
Well, I mean, think about it. Who would know who Chris Hemsworth was if it wasn't for Walt Simonson's stories in the 80s of Thor? I mean, he didn't create Thor, but he put him on the map big time with his story. Right. Well, I agree. You know where I stand, and you know where I feel about it. So I agree with you. I mean, I've had so many people tell me that there's no way I can succeed if I stay as a comic show. And I said, tell that to Heroes in Baltimore. Tell it to Terrifica. I'm sorry, I disagree. There's a niche for this. There's a need for this. And I want you guys to be the celebrities. You guys should flourish. Like I said, I mean, you could talk about Harry Potter. You could talk about all these cool movies, Jaws, etc. But Superman's an icon. He's an icon. He is beyond just a mythos. He is something to idolize, something to aspire to be. You know, he's the representation of the characteristics that we want in life. So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, and again, I want to make it clear, like, I don't hate pop culture cons. I just I don't, truthfully, I don't like when you go to a show's site and the artists are just the afterthought.
Right.
You know, I'm doing a show in 2 weeks in New Hampshire, Little Giant Comics.
Yeah, Jason Broderick. Yeah.
And he's an old school comic show.
Yep.
You know, he thinks the same way. And again, that's why I like the guys and the people behind, you know, Fan Expo and New York and everything. The people who run those shows, the artist side of it that I know, they like comic book shows, you know, and that's I'll always do those shows because they care about comics, they care about the creators, you know, Constance and Kevin and Mike and all these people, they care about us, so I'll always do them.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I have to say you know, I think the one thing that's going to come out of all this, we had originally started with the virtual con thing. I think there's going to be a resurgence of conventions again. I mean, unfortunately, sadly, some are dropping off, you know, the smaller ones.
Right.
That's a shame, but there was a flood of them, and I think we're going to see a true comeback for actual comic conventions popping up. Again, there may be the small guys, the 1 day or maybe a 2 day, you know, like my show, like Jason's show in New Hampshire. But that's good because think about it. You can get some top tier artists and talent there, but they're not breaking the bank at the door, you know?
Right.
So I think we're going to see a comeback with that. I think that's the good that's going to come out of this once the smoke clears.
Oh.
I hope so. I actually want to go. I wanted to come see you and a few other people in New Hampshire. I don't know if I will be able to make it. It's like a 5-hour drive, but I'm going to try. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I'm looking forward to doing it. I was supposed to do it a couple of years in a row, and unfortunately, I was, you know, I was lucky enough to be booked at other shows. But I've known Jason for a couple of years, and he's a bit, as you know, he's a big comic guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, he owns a store.
Yeah, so I'm excited to you know, to do it and see everybody. And
so you didn't snub him like you did my last show, right? Is what you're saying?
Which one is this?
Yeah. Is this the one I didn't get my food at? It's too far a drive, and now I see you driving to New Hampshire. I'm logging this in. Chris. I'm logging this in.
I remember when I drove to your show, the fog I drove through that morning. And
it was bad.
I remember pulling in to drop my stuff off, and your dad's like, you got to park over there. And I was
like, I'm looking and driving to a pole, and you're telling me to drive further? Yeah, it was bad. I know. It was really bad that morning. I didn't know it was that long a drive for you.
Hey, look, man, I drive to Chicago.
Then what the hell are you turning down my show for, saying, 2.5, 3 hours?
Well, the 1 day. I didn't want to turn around.
Fair enough. Well, I'll be 2 days. I'll be 2 days next time, and it'll be an annual show. So no excuses then, man.
No, you know what? You telling a story. I did come to the show, man.
Yeah. So basically, I think in 9 years, we have not had maybe one meeting where we didn't bust each other's chops. But it's all in fun. You know, we just have the good same sarcastic sense of humor. We won't get into some of the jokes that Chris has thrown my way. Where is my wife anyway? Sorry, I had to throw that out there.
He just left.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that who was sliding it under the door there? See, I'm a Yankees fan too, so I'm sorry, William.
Yeah, sorry, William. I mean, before anybody starts, I was a Yankee fan in the '80s when they won nothing.
Thank you, Mike Pagliarulo and Winfield. Yes, me too.
Velarde, you know,
Dan Pasqua.
They made that terrible deal. When they traded Gabe Una for Ken Felt. Andy Hawkins,
so I wasn't a front-running Yankee fan. I'm with you.
Yeah, Andy Hawkins threw a no-hitter against the White Sox and lost. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
They lost that game 4-0 and he threw a no-hitter.
Man, and I'm a Jets fan and a Knicks fan, so you can see why I'm all gray now. But anyway.
I'm the same, Jets and Knicks.
Yeah, and you're a Rush fan, and you're, I don't know, man.
Fan of your wife?
Steph.
Still in the car.
Oh, shit. See, that's how cool my wife is. She laughs at this stuff. She doesn't care. Besides, we all know she has standards, so there's no way that could be true.
Right.
But
we all think we lower them.
Meanwhile, the more we rib each other, the more people start coming into the room. So let's make this the Chris Campana roast. Yeah. Actually, you know what? You just gave me a great idea. I should do a roast, a live roast. I could put 10 people on this thing. We should do a roast for somebody. People could roast me. I wouldn't even care. I got a thick skin.
Great. It's all wrapped around something too.
Like a pig in a blanket.
We can do that. I would do that. That's fine.
Wouldn't that be fun? What do you guys think? Should we do a roast of me and I'll have a bunch of artists on just to make fun of me? Nobody's answering. They're like, all right, I'm going to stay quiet.
Is he serious?
In the comments, tell me what you think if I should schedule a bunch of artists to come on live and do a roast of me. They'll just go at me. So William Pace says he's in and he'll host. So he does his own podcast, so why not? I think it would be fun.
I would do it.
Oh, I know you. Please, you'd be the first one in line. You'd be recruiting people. You'd be out in the street going, listen, I know this guy is a fat Irishman with a big mouth. You want to come help make fun of him?
All you got to do is take a look at him.
Oh, yeah, don't ask me how we got that wife. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. I would just simply say you don't have to. You just got to look at them.
And here they all are. Steve Garcia, hell yeah. Dan. I'm very serious about this. I think I'm going to set this up. I'm going to do a roast. I'm going to do it. This would be a lot of fun. As long as you people come with some A material, don't fall flat on your faces with crappy jokes. All right? You got to be funny. All right?
I think I could do it.
Oh, I know you can. You have the same sarcasm as me. You'll come out with some. You just came out with the clever thing a minute ago. I mean, you get them once in a while.
Every now and then, sun shines in a dog's ass.
How's it going with the drawing that you don't want to show everybody?
Oh, well, I'm probably going to ink it after.
Nice.
So I'm just kind of messing around with it now, like doodling around. I'll ink it. What I figured I'll do is I'll ink it, or I'll pencil it in regular in lead because this is in blue right now. Detail it up, and then I'll send it to you, and then I guess we could post it tomorrow if people want to. I don't know, you want to auction it? I don't care.
Whatever you want to do, brother. It's your art. You're the one putting the effort in.
If anybody wants it, I don't know if anybody watching.
I mean, you couldn't. It looks like you couldn't afford a razor for the video, so at the very least, we could support you.
I didn't know it was going to be a death. Like I was like, I figured you wouldn't be able to see me. That's why I had the other one on my drawing. I figured this was going to go away.
And meanwhile, this is going to be uploaded to YouTube pretty soon, so you're going to be immortalized.
Great.
Oh, look at this. This is funny. Maybe we'll put Dan on the panel. It's common to roast marshmallows. Dan's got jokes. Yeah, we're going to put Dan on the panel.
He's also got herpes, though, so sorry, Dan.
Yeah. I was a DJ in gentlemen's clubs for 30 years. I'll burn you down, Phillip Russertt. Well, whatever you did in gentlemen's clubs is your business. Yeah. That was perfect timing for the herpes joke. Meanwhile, we have more people in the room right now than we did before because, like, who reads comics when we could just be making fun of everybody?
Nobody cares about me as I draw things.
Jeffrey Ross. Yes, he's at every one of them. I'm sure Jeffrey Ross is free. I'm sure he's not doing anything right now. So that's up for auction. Do you want to put that up for auction tomorrow, or do you just want to commission it, or?
Well, if somebody saw it, they like it. Like if somebody sees this and they want me to ink it and finish it up and all that kind of stuff, I will. I'm gonna do a small kind of background behind it too. But tomorrow I'll ink it up and
You'll post it. Just tag me in the post.
Yeah.
And you'll tag the right person this time, the right page.
Well, Mister, I don't use comments. Your post, read that post and tell me nobody would think it was on a Creatorcon page.
Why? I wrote on my post it was on this page, and you put up there a contradictory. Oh, go to Creatorcon page because I don't even pay attention to what the hell I'm doing.
You know what? Let me just real quick. I'm gonna log on to Facebook now, and I'm just simply gonna read how you wrote it.
It needs a panda in it, Mark Torres said. He-Man banging a panda.
Yeah. 9 p.m. here on this page, Creatorcon Q&A with Chris Campana. There's no comment.
But it's on Phillip Russertt's page.
I know, but on this page, Creatorcon, like you capitalize Creatorcon. I think it's
the name of the show, Creatorcon Q&A. You said to yourself, you're not about writing. You're not about reading. You're about art. So just stay there.
It's up to interpretation. Agree to disagree.
By the way, are you open for commissions at this point? Besides the He-Man, are you open for commissions? Or are you too busy right now?
Right now, no. I do have a couple of people that have messaged me that I said when the list opens, they definitely have a spot. I would say, with the news of New York, obviously we all knew New York wasn't going to happen. New York's a major revenue show.
Of course, it's the best. It's the most. It's the best revenue, even over at San Diego. That's the best artist alley in the country.
And that's because everybody and Mighty Mike, they put on a fantastic show. And I miss everybody. But with that show going down, I think what I'm going to do is the end of this month, first week of September, is I'm going to open up commissions for the next 3 months.
Okay. So
essentially, depending on what kind of requests I get, it's probably gonna be my last open slot, to the end of the year. So I'll probably go like September, October, a little bit into November, just to have open slots and then finish them to the end of the year.
Okay. Do you want to plug your pages, by the way, if anybody's not aware, or if they live in a cave, about your Facebook, Instagram, how to reach you, etc.?
Well, Instagram is Campana Art. I make it as difficult as possible. It's my last name, Campana, and then A-R-T. I should have been smart and just used the A in Campana and then just put R-T, but I didn't. I added another art because I'm a dummy. So
see, that one was, you just threw that softball right up there. I'm not going to swing at it.
You shouldn't. I don't want you to hurt anything. So because you're so active.
You'd be surprised, man. I play basketball with young kids, and I bust their rear ends. If you don't believe me, I'll play you one-on-one for money. Just don't cry like a little Jersey boy. I play New York ball.
Are you sure you want to do that?
Are you that good?
I mean,
you just think I'm that bad, because I'm not bad.
I'm pretty good. I mean, I did play semi-pro beach volleyball. Like I can still jump.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't even try to play you in volleyball.
Would you? How tall are you?
6'1".
So you'd want to back me down and then just work me. You'd work me.
Oh, because I'm old and fat now? Yeah. I have a handle and I have a jump shot. I'm just telling you right now, and I can go left or right.
If you take me off the dribble, then I would just retire.
Oh, all right, everybody. Here's the deal. If I take this man off the dribble, okay, and we're going to record this, I'm going to give him a religious experience because he's going to see the cross of his life. All right?
You're like Woody Harrelson and White Man Can't Jump right now.
I'm just telling you, people have underestimated me for a while now.
I don't underestimate you because of the way you look. I underestimate you because I underestimate you.
Well, I feel better as long as you're not judging me by my looks or anything. So let me ask you, I can't believe it's been an hour and a half. I have to tell you, we've just been having a blast. And I knew we would because you and I this is what we do all the time.
Right.
So I'm going to ask you the last question I ask everybody. If you could go back to when you were first starting out in comics,
right,
and you could give advice to that young Chris Campana, I know you'd probably want to smack him upside the head. God knows we all do. But if you could just give him advice, what would you tell him?
Like, talk to that girl Stephanie who hit you up early.
Oh.
No, I would. I'm sorry, that was easy. I'm sorry. You know, honestly, and this is, and you know, I'm an honest person. I would really tell that person to not think they're as good as they thought they were. I had to be humbled when I was younger. You know, I know we started this conversation with, you know, insecure, egotistical, and you hate your own stuff. When I was young, because I had so many yes people around me,
right,
who didn't really know what they were looking at, they just, you know, like your mom, your dad, your family.
You were the kid that can't sing, and they're like, oh, you sing so beautifully.
Yeah, that was it. Like, I had no one told me I sucked, and I sucked, but no one said it. You know, it was like people would tiptoe around it. So what I would say to myself the most is get real eyes to look at your stuff.
Okay.
You know,
don't say no to Nickelodeon, dumbass.
Nickelodeon, dumbass. Oh, God Almighty! I know.
9 years ago, you were an arrogant prick. So I mean, you really didn't learn.
Let me just tell you something about that Nickelodeon thing. I know exactly where I was standing and what was around me when I said no on that phone. Right.
Well, let's put you right. We'll put you back in time, right to that spot where you can go. What are you doing?
Honestly, what is your problem?
By the way, this is apparently going to be a running joke from now on. He said, buy Red Lobster stock. I had Geraldo Borges on Friday, and he said that he loves Red Lobster, and there's no Red Lobsters in Chile or Brazil. So the running joke is I'm going to take him to Red Lobster next time I see him. You know, we go out because we become friends. So I guess you'll have to join us for Red Lobster. We'll get you one of those little lobster bibs. It'll be great. Maybe I'll get you a little beanie with the little propeller on top, too.
Oh, yeah, we can take me out of your bedroom.
Well, hey, you know, I don't have any pandas. I have to do something kinky.
Well, I know where you keep them because I've been in there.
Oh, boom, boom.
Hey-oh.
Wait a minute. So you can drive all the way out here, but you can't go to my show?
Priorities, man. It's priorities.
I'm telling Steph.
She knows.
Oh, shit. What is this? Chris walks around CC with a Todd McFarlane name tag.
I need somebody to know who I am.
That's funny. All right, so listen, Q&A, guys. Anybody got some questions for Chris?
Nobody has anything for me.
Anybody want to rip on my behalf? Do you want to rip him? I'll be the one that gets the brunt of the response. So.
That would be fine. Come at me.
Anybody? Pandas and Red Lobster will be running gags for as long as I live. That's cool, Mark. Bring it in, man. I love it. Bring it in. All right. So it looks like no questions this evening.
There's a surprise.
No, actually, you know what it is? I usually have interesting guests, so I get a lot of questions. You know what's funny? For everybody, before we started the show, when we were talking backstage, I told him I'm not going to get into the ribbon too much, but he had to go to my wife. He just had to go there. He had to go there. He opened up the floodgates. It was over.
You started it.
I mean, where?
This is on video. You can see. You'll know.
All right. You know what? I'm going to look back. And if I started, but still, that's some next level stuff, dude. What do we got here? Do you know any Brazilian comic book artists? There's Geraldo right there. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, man?
Oh, I'm surprised you would know him. He's like top tier. He does like published work.
Doesn't isn't Joe Prado in Brazil?
Yes.
He'll
be on this show, by the way, in October.
I sat next to Joe in Motor City last year, and he was easily one of the nicest people I've in the industry.
I'm going to tell you, I don't know what's in Brazilian water, but they're all the nicest people. I mean, they're top tier artists, and they're just the most humble, nicest people.
Yeah, he was incredible. And I remember when I saw my table assignment, first of all, I thought I was between him and Mike Henderson, and I was like, why are they doing this to me? But by the way, Motor City took care of me like nobody's business. They were so good to me.
That's because you had the Todd McFarlane badge on.
You're like, God, you've changed. You're also not nearly as talented.
Yeah.
But Joe made me feel so at home. By the end of the show, we were friends. We still talk. Yeah, he's such a good guy. And he said one of the nicest things to me. He's like, so how long have you been working with Marvel? And at first I thought he was like messing with me. And I was like, I haven't. I said I've done some DC stuff, but never Marvel stuff. And he was like, what? Are you kidding me? And then we got to talking, and he was another guy who was just genuinely nice, so giving. Yep. Of his knowledge, and he's so talented.
Yeah.
At the end of the show, he gave me a page. He gave me a Superman page.
No kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a prized possession. It's a beautiful page. Every panel has Superman in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a great page.
He's actually on one of my jams back here. This one here. Where is it? That one.
He's really, really just such a I can't say enough nice things clearly about him. He's good. He's a good guy. I
agree. So Geraldo will have to take him to the Red Lobster too, buddy.
I'll go to Red Lobster.
Yeah, and I have to say, for anybody who's new to this show, I'm usually more professional at this, but I kind of, unfortunately, I'm like the Knicks. I play down in my competition. In all seriousness, I've known Chris for 9 years. We bust each other's chops. I wish Chris well. You're a good guy. I wish you success. I wish you happiness. I do hope that whatever you aspire to be in the industry, if you aren't already there, comes to fruition. I do appreciate you coming out today, and I can't believe it's been an hour and 36 minutes. It's just been fun.
Yeah, it's been great. I will say, if I just say one thing, when people ask, like, my idea has changed as far as yes, Red Lobster and Shake Shack. I'm all about it. My idea has changed as what I wanted to be in the industry from when I was younger to now. I just want to continue to tell good stories. It's my full-time job. I do have dream gigs, but I no longer define myself by working on a certain title. It's just doing the best work I can do. It's changed.
That's good, though. That's good. No, that's really good, because honestly, I think that needs to be more of the focus with creators these days. I'm not trying to bash anything, but I just feel like storytelling. I know it gets harder as the years go by, because how many fresh stories can you come up with? It does get tough.
Right.
But you have to challenge yourself. You're a professional. This is what you're doing. Yeah, it's got to be about the storytelling. It's got to be about a quality story with good character development and good pace. You had mentioned before in the book where you're bringing in Parker Reeve too, the characters that you have from First World. That also helps the pace of the story.
Right.
Because you don't have to do all these introductions to these characters. And it's that Easter egg kind of fun excitement that people who know First World go, oh, man, look at that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a brilliant idea.
Thanks, man. Oh,
here's a question. It's a good one, too. Gallo asked, if Chris could walk on as a cameo in a comic book movie, what would it be?
I'd be like, what character would I be?
Barbarella.
Again?
Barbed wire.
I'd be Mark Spector.
He's a big Moon Knight fan, so
yeah, I'd be Moon Knight, or I'd be Danny Rand, one or the other.
Who would win?
Ooh.
Rand's the better fighter, but Moon Knight's dirty.
You got to go with Rand.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you got to go with Rand. I think Moon Knight Daredevil's a better fight than Moon Knight Iron Fist. Iron Fist should, in my mind, Iron Fist also beats the hell out of Daredevil.
Yeah, he should. They don't do it that way.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this, and people hate me for this. Who's the better character, Batman or Moon Knight?
It's weird because so many people compare them, but there aren't a lot of real comparisons there. I mean, I know that the Stephen Grant thing with all the money is very Bruce Wayne-ish, right? Is it Stephen Grant or Mark Spector? Grant is.
It's Mark Spector. Grant is the yeah.
Yeah, Grant the cab driver.
Yeah.
And then there's
he is the cab driver. Yeah, right.
Well, who's the other character? I can't remember the other guy.
No, it's Grant. No, it's Grant. Who's the French guy? I forget his name.
Oh, that's the guy. That's
Pepe Le Pew. That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Listen, this is how to kill radio by standing there going
Anyway, I'm a big Moon Knight fan now. I can't even remember the three characters. It's Stephen Grant, Mark Spector, and the other guy.
The reason why I compare them is not even the money. You know, they're both rich and everything. It's because I always felt Batman has to be freaking crazy to do what he does. I mean, you can't be a sane individual, but he's written as a driven man, but not an insane man. And I personally think Batman should be more like Moon Knight, a little freaking crazy. I mean, look what you're doing with your life.
The DID stuff that they dug into with Moon Knight, because they stuck with that for so long after Doug started that stuff in the Sienkiewicz run.
Yeah.
I think that hurts the character in a way. I think it hurts the character. I also think there is no competition when it comes to Rogue between Batman and Moon Knight.
Well, of course.
So that hurts Moon Knight too. But they've overpowered Batman. He's way too strong. He should be able to go toe-to-toe with characters like Darkseid and all this kind of stuff.
Agreed.
And I've always gotten annoyed when people say if Batman had time to prepare, you know, he could do everything. Well, I think if anybody had time to prepare, they could whoop Batman's ass. So I can't, it's just, I like Batman as a design. He's a lot of fun to draw, but I think as a character, he's the most successful character, but I don't know. He's not a.
By the way, Gallo reminded us how foolish we are. That French guy, what's his name? And he says Frenchie.
Frenchie.
Yeah. Hello. So thank God we have these guys in the room.
Isn't the other character's name Hugh something?
I don't remember.
I can't believe I'm like the biggest Moon Knight fan. I can't really remember.
Dude, I didn't remember Frenchie for the French guy, and you're asking me who someone's name is?
I'm so bitter at myself. So yeah, there's your answer. Danny Rand or Mark Spector.
Okay.
Or Man.
So anything else anybody wants to ask? He's up past his bedtime. He's got to take his Geritol and get some rest.
My hip still hurts from when your wife was here.
Oh, where's my drum set? I'll go get it. I'll be right back. Well, I just want you to know that if that was true, that's only because we wanted to be able to write off some charity on our taxes.
That's right. Yeah, she did take a receipt.
I keep telling her, if you pole dance, I could run my show a lot easier. But she won't do it.
I don't understand.
She won't, because I have the headphones on. She hears me and not you, and she's probably going, "Where did this interview go?"
Exactly where. Exactly where we knew it would go.
Yeah, it was inevitable.
Right.
And meanwhile, you're the longest interview yet, but it really has been fun.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Listen, everybody. As far as Chris Campana, if you don't already follow him, follow his pages. Chosen really sounds interesting. Yeah. Reach out to Chris to get the first issue. He's working on the follow-up issues. Reach out for his prior issues of First World. If you like Dungeons & Dragons, you won't be disappointed. Yes, you're late, Chris. Good job, as always. Go back and draw, damn it. Chris mad.
Hey, Chris.
Another guy who I'm going to bust his chops when he's on. Also, Adventures of Parker Reef. I'm just going to say that it was a wonderful read.
Thank you.
It's powerful. It's also for good cause. So check out Adventures of Parker Reef. And look for the sequel that just finished your Kickstarter not too long ago, right?
Yep.
And all your future projects. What was that with the Raven? I'm sorry. What was the name of it again?
Call the Raven's Home. It's a Norse mythology book. Right now it's being produced through Last Wolf Legion, but we're pitching to some other companies. And the Turtles cover, I don't know the release date on it. And then the other thing hasn't been announced yet.
A lot of good stuff coming your way from Campana Art. And you heard him about commissions, not right at the moment, but come fall, He'll have like a 3-month window where he'll be accepting commissions. He's very affordable, quality work, as you can see. If you could show that He-Man one more time. Yeah, if you want to show it to the wall. This He-Man is this He-Man will be inked and finished and up for sale tomorrow. So follow his page and he'll put it up there. Hopefully he'll tag me and not Creatorcon or the show in New Hampshire or the show over in Massachusetts and Connecticut. You know, maybe he'll actually tag the right person.
It's your fault.
Yeah, really. Oh, you know what? Every time we're about to shut off, now somebody asks a question. When I asked for 5 minutes, we had questions. Everybody's like, cricket. So Gallo asked, what do you listen to when you draw?
Great question. So if it actually really depends on what I'm drawing. If I'm doing a commission or something like that, I will listen to stuff that I just genuinely enjoy. If I'm doing a page or sequentials, I listen to more like classical stuff.
Does that get you focused? Get you in, really locked in?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, cool. Good deal. All right, everybody. Chris, thanks a lot, man, for coming out. I appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.
I really had a good time. I hope you did. It's good to catch up with you. I mean, I saw you briefly in Boston last summer. That was the last time I saw you in person, I believe. And, we joke around once in a blue moon via text or whatever. But it was good. It was good hanging out.
Yeah, man, I had fun. It was good. I've been reluctant to do some of these just because the world is so weird right now. It was fun.
I'm trying to make it fun. This is supposed to be a distraction. This is what brings us together, like you said before. I mean, if we can't, that's why I'm able to laugh at myself. You laugh at yourself. That's all it is. Let's remember what we have in common and why we love comics, and let's just stay there. So that's why I do this. Not that you've watched any other show to really know that, but whatever.
No, I told you. Once I see that Phillip Russertt goes live, I log off.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to Twitch.
Something else to do.
Yeah. I'm going to Twitch.
All right, man, I appreciate it, bro.
Look, much success, my friend. I'll talk to you again, and have a great night. Thanks for coming out.
All right, brother. I'll see you later.
All right. So there's episode 6 with Chris Campana. Apparently, we went off the rails a bit. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I had a feeling it would go that route. That's just how him and I roll. But please keep in mind, the more you share this thing, the more they get viewership. This isn't about me. I don't make money off this show. This is about getting viewerships of these guys, the artists. I have indie artists. I have published artists all coming up. And this is about getting eyes on them. There are guys in the thread right now that are welcome to be guests on this show. You want eyes on you too. Let's share this out. Let's get everybody to be part of this community. And I am serious about that roast. I'm going to get that going, and everybody can go at me all they want. Friday, we have Ryan Kincaid. I'm sure you know who that is. If you don't, go check out his page. Ryan Kincaid's a great artist. He does a lot of pinup style, but he can do all kinds of artwork for you. He does for me all the time. He's got his independent books out that sell like crazy. I haven't spoken to him yet to know if he's going to do any live draw, but knowing him, he probably is. So please come in Friday at 10 p.m. Every Tuesday show is going to be 9 p.m. now to accommodate for everybody's work schedule. But Fridays are still at 10 p.m. So please come out Friday, share while it's live, share beforehand, come support, come be part of it. Let's have a good time. I know Ryan well enough to have some fun. So you know how I roll it. I try to make it fun. I try to make it light. So thanks to everybody who comes out regularly. Thanks to everybody who comes to support. Hope you had fun. Hope to see you Friday. God bless all of you. Have a great work week. Be well. Be safe. And I leave you with this. Have fun storming the castle.